Picture a time in history when it was 1932, when 13 million of Americans were unemployed. Some were living in their cars, living in their shanty little towns, and some were forced to live out on the streets. The world was experiencing the backdrop of the Depression. Also picture when life was at its most barren times and desolate and hopelessness. Through those times, angelic life was being born. She was my mother. In the next few moments, I would like to tell you about my mom, of her hardships, her unconditional love, her victories, her family, and her faith. First of all, I would like to tell you about that she was born in the coal fields of West Virginia. She was second of 13 children. She often helped nurture her younger siblings. And through the years, she stood by them through the struggles and the surviving. Second, she would find herself at the age of 28, being alone and widowed of 3 small boys at the ages of 2, 4, and 6. She had to step up and be a mother and a father to them. Later on, years would pass, and she would experience something so great that she often talks about it. She cries a lot of times. She ended up having 5 boys and then me. And at the age of 4 months, I became critically ill. And she said that I had died for about 10 minutes in her arms. She looked up to the heavens, to the stars, and asked God, Lord, if you would just spare my child, I will teach her your ways, and I will come back and rededicate my life and serve you for the remainder of my days. Abraham Lincoln did a quote that said, "No man is poor who has a godly mother." This is my mom. At the age of 40, after rededicating her life, she started attending church. She found herself teaching the youth there because no one wanted to take responsibility. She would teach them, and also she would teach her own children. Mama would go on and being faithful, and anything that was put in her path, she was diligent about it. And that brought her to later on in years being a licensed minister. Next, it wasn't easy being a mother, a wife, and balancing life in the ministry. She would often say that she would go back and pray. That's where she gained her strength and her wisdom. I remember hearing her many times when I was little, praying in the back room of the trailer that we had, that of her children, her community, and I also remember praying for my brother and my nephews that were serving over the oceans in war. And I know through her prayers that she brought them back safely. She also has the voice of an angel, and she plays the guitar. With her black flowing hair and her voice that she has, she always reminded us of Loretta Lynn. She always took the time to teach her children songs that they would sing in church. She taught my brothers how to play the guitar, and others as well. Later on, my brothers would become, 3 of them will become ordained ministers. My mother has left a wonderful musical legacy for my family. All of my nieces and nephews and my own children play various instruments. My mother is 87 years old now, and I always think of her as a mature oak tree, one that has stood the winds of life. I think of her as being the strong, unmovable, and never wavering. Lastly, I want to leave you with a poem by Helen Steiner Rice. It's about a mother's love. A mother's love is something that no one can explain. It's made of deep devotion and of sacrifice and pain. It is endless and unselfish and enduring, come what may. For nothing can destroy or take that love away. It is patient and forgiving when all else is forsaking, and it never fails or falters, even though the heart is breaking. That is my mother, my best friend.